everyone. We are going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm so excited. I'm going to interview my brother, Jason Fouts, and we're going to talk about our top 5 kitchen must-have items / ingredients. And I hope you guys enjoy this kind of interview format. It's a little bit longer, but we had a lot to say and it was really fun. So I hope you enjoy it. And I also just wanted to mention really quickly before we get into it, because I'm pretty sure my brother does not care about Vampire Diaries, that I have set the time for our Vampire Diaries live watch party. It's going to be this Saturday, September 19th at 8 p.m. Here on my channel, we're going to watch the pilot episode of Vampire Diaries together. So keep an eye out for that because it's starting on September 19th, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm really excited. Okay, so now we are going to go into this interview with my brother, the incredible chef, and I hope you enjoy it. We did it.
We did it!
Hello, welcome. You are my brother, Jason Fouts.
Yes.
World-renowned and traveling chef. And I'm so excited that you're here and talking to me.
Oh.
As a member of my family, you know that food is a huge deal to us.
I mean, it's the only vice available to most of our family, so it's the one that we indulge in the hardest.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really, this got dark fast, but that's pretty much the reason. So when you're in a family of people with addictive personality types and religious restrictions, this is the outcome. Food must have tips on YouTube. Amazing. So this is so happy you're here. I mean, I think you and my love of food is on par with one another's. We vary greatly in our love of preparing food.
Yes.
I don't love it, and you do love it. But we love to eat it pretty close, right? And appreciating it. I would give you the edge over me. and I think, yeah, we're kind of kindred food spirits, I would say. We've got a lot in common as far as what we like to eat and how much we care about what we eat and it being like just very good, right? So the rules that I set forth for this is that it can be an ingredient, a tool, or a small appliance. We each have the option for one tie item. So there could be up to 6. Did you have any ties? You have 6 or 5. Did you follow the rules?
Not so much ties as I blatantly cheated.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, this is so great. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll do like I'll say one and you say one. As I've already mentioned to you several times in the last few days, I have almost spoiled my list and told you, and I don't know why. I don't know why I need to tell you.
We get excited about things, and then we want to share the things we're excited about. So I get it.
Yes, we get so excited about the things we're excited about, like ingredients. And also, I'm nervous. I'm nervous of telling you my list, and so I wanted to rip it off because you are not judgmental, but you are opinionated. So a little context for people who are watching and don't know you so well as I do. You are a food genius, I would say. You have traveled literally all over the world cooking amazing food and learning how to cook amazing food. For how many years now have you been doing this?
I finished culinary school in 2009. So as a professional, I started my first kitchen in 2007, but I mean, catering work was the first thing I ever did starting at 14.
Yeah.
So that was the year 2000.
You know your stuff. You also, we have a number of things in common, but kind of the way that I approach learning about things I'm excited about is very similar to you as well. So you not only are a chef and know a lot of things, but you also really like to get down into the why and the how. So I feel like you understand so much. And the point of this list to me was to figure out, just because I think it's interesting, what are the things that you feel like you have to have in your kitchen and why? I'm going to start with my first, no, I'm not. I just chickened out. You're going to start. What is your first must-have item in your kitchen and why?
My first must-have item is the only must-have item where I did not bend the rules. This is the only must-have item that is like legit, just like I'm gonna say one thing and leave it at that. And
Great.
it's a microplane. I can only see you, so I can't actually see how well I'm modeling things. I can't think of a time when I cooked without using this in some way or another, because I love zest and I love garlic.
Yeah.
Ideally, you have two, one that you only do garlic with and one that you do like zest and sweet things with. But like literally every vegetable is improved by a little bit of lemon zest right over the top of the plate. You know, if you want to add garlic to something, then you just microplane the garlic, give it a good smack, boom, the garlic's in there. Parmesan cheese, anything, and get the actual microplane brand on it. Don't just buy a generic one. Yeah. How much sharper this is incredible. So yeah, get the real deal microplane, and just start putting stuff in food with it. It's great.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Most people put lemon juice in everything. You know, squeeze a lemon juice. Everyone knows that trick.
Yeah.
The zest is a little next level. Level.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I should get one. Okay, that's a good one. All right. My first must-have is, I'm pretty sure, going to be on your list as well, or some version, and it is a Salt Cellar with Diamond brand kosher salt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Morton Diamond Kosher Crystal. That so I started to build my list, and I was doing like a combination of like ingredients and tools. There are too many things for me to do both of them in one list.
Yeah.
So I cheated heavily and didn't do any ingredients. But if I were doing ingredients, then absolutely I would have the Morton Kosher Diamond Crystal salt.
Yes. So I'm kind of lumping it. I guess I slightly cheated too, in that for me it was like just as much the salt and the Salt Cellar, because I didn't used to have a Salt Cellar. I used to, well, actually for a while I was using a grinder because I could only find
the salt grinders that much. Because for me, it's all about the feel of the salt.
Yes, you know? And the only reason I was doing that is because in Texas I could only find the coarse kosher salt that's just too coarse for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So the Diamond one is the finer kosher salt. And so I had to grind it because I was like, I'm not going to not use kosher salt. Do you want to talk briefly about why kosher salt?
Okay, so I mean, iodized table salt granules that you see at every restaurant ever in the little shaker, they're just garbage. Just throw it away. It has a gross flavor. It has barely any salinity to it. You have to add so much to make the food actually taste the way it's supposed to.
Which is why I think you and I both have a real concern with the level of salt in a lot of stuff, because a lot of food does not have enough salt. And I think
they have an adequate amount of salt, but they have salt that tastes terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then you're like, well, what do I do now? Because the whole point of salt is to highlight and enhance what's already there, you know.
Yeah.
But
you know, plug for my brand called Salt, because that's our beauty philosophy too.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
But no, though, I mean, the whole beauty of the diamond is that you can feel it in your fingers.
Yes.
So as you're dispensing the salt, you know, you give it a little. Give a little love. You know, you can go full Salt Bay if you want to. You can feel the salt, and once you get used to working with it, then you don't like always taste your food and check for salinity before you serve it to people.
Yeah.
But you can just, there's such an easy connect between what your hands are doing and what it tastes like. Like it's just easy to use.
I totally
no surprises where, because like it dissolves quickly enough that like that thicker kosher stuff dissolves so slowly that you season your food and you taste it, and then 10 minutes later it is so much saltier than you thought you made it, because that salt has now dissolved and is doing its thing.
So kosher salt in a Salt Cellar, because you just keep this, you know, on your counter, and it's so easy and quick to just grab it out. I like this little thing. And
I will add on to you real quick. Hold on.
Yes. Also, I'll put the links in the description box for any of the stuff that we talk about that is possible to be linked. I don't know what his list is, so I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do that.
Right now, since we're talking about salt, I talk about something that is just making me so damn happy right now. This we actually got at the Solvang Spice Shop, but it's this cypress flake salt.
Ooh.
And you can also use, Malden or, any of the other just really good fleur de sel or sea salts. I don't know if you can see the grain on that. Delicate, soft flavor that is just beautiful. Like, tomatoes are popping off so hard right now. It's really, really exciting. There's a little farm stand that's close to the house. And so we just go there, you slice the tomato, you put a little bit of this stuff on there. You don't need anything. You don't need anything.
This is our thing, right? Perfectly executed simplicity. Like that's at the core of what we care about as consumers. And
summer tomato and a little bit of really good sea salt and just nothing.
And that's one of those childhood things too, because slicing up heirloom tomatoes in Central California on the coast and sprinkling salt on them and eating them, that's like, to this day, the smell of when you've just picked a tomato.
G&G Tidwell's porch.
What?
On G&G Tidwell's front porch, just right there.
Yes, and that's our grandparents. And like taking a tomato and plucking it and smelling where the vine was connected, that is still one of my favorite smells in the world. It's just the best. A little bit of salt on tomato, perfect. Love it. Okay, what is your next item that apparently you've cheated?
Not tongs. Not tongs. That's my next item. Stop using tongs. Just like, unless you're moving like a giant hunk of meat from the grill, like that is really the only time to use tongs.
Yeah.
I'm getting text messages. Hold on. So what I have instead is what we use in kitchens. Like the way that kitchens work, when you get hired, you show up for a stage and you work for free for a day. Free labor. And so most cooks will bring their whole knife roll. You don't really need to do that. For the most part, you use a spoon. This is actually a special edition one that was given to me by my chef at Murad. And so this is a Grey Kunz spoon. He's a chef that actually just passed away earlier this year. Kunz, Kunz. But these spoons, most line cooks have them in their kit, at least one. You don't have to always get the Kunz spoon, but it's heavy duty enough that like you can lift a really heavy pan with this, and this guy ain't bending. It's a little bit big for actually plating in a restaurant for me, but like if you need to serve mashed potatoes, like or turn something, so you have a big spoon and a little spoon. And like this, go to a thrift store, go to a vintage store, go antiquing. Just find little spoons and buy them. They're amazing.
So it's just like that's tinier than a regular spoon that you would have.
These are my little mini tweezers offset by JB Prinze. Especially now that it turns out germs are bad. Stop touching your food. And most people use tongs. Don't use tongs. Tongs will destroy your food.
Why are tongs destroying your food?
Because the people mash down on them. They use too much force. And then with that, just, the giant part that you're gripping the food with, that's so much contact. So if you're trying to do something little, like, just move something from here to here. You can also use chopsticks if you're comfortable with chopsticks. That's the super cheap, easy way to do it. I cook with chopsticks. Chopsticks and a spoon are pretty much all I'm using when I'm besides a knife at home. Yeah,
when it comes to like moving things around while you're
cooking. Bacon,
Wow. Yeah.
Anything that you would just use your hands. Stop touching the food, and don't crush it with tongs.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I liked that cheat.
Yeah. So that category is not tongs. That's my top 5 pick.
My next one, and it's a little bit like, okay, so salt and pepper, but I also I had opinions about the type of salt and the way, and the pepper and the way it's dispensed. This was one of those nervous, because I don't think I've actually run this past you. And normally when I have a food opinion, I check with you to make sure that it's correct. I wanted to once I moved my salt into the salt cellar, I still had this pepper grinder, which actually like
Fresh ground pepper.
This is the one that I had used for the salt previously. We actually got it at Walmart. And also I got the Salt Cellar on Amazon, and I got this pepper on Amazon. And I was like, I bought stuff on Amazon. And then I remind myself the thing that I remind myself all the time, which is that existing in a capitalist society just means sometimes you have to participate in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're complicit when you're not one of the people driving the forces of capitalism, and you're actually just broke enough that you have to still buy things on Amazon sometimes.
How do you think I felt as a chef on yachts?
I know, but that's not the same as supporting it, because you exist in this world that fucking blows, and you can do things to fix it and still have to like buy stuff that you can afford to buy. Mm-hmm. Fuck capitalism. So here's what I bought on Amazon. This was empty, and I was like, I want to get some good pepper. So I did some research on like the best types of pepper. And from my research, this is now I'm running past you, the Tellicherry Peppercorns, is that correct? Is it bad that I...
No, they're great. That's what most restaurants use. Yeah.
I mean, I trust my instincts enough to know that once I bought them, the fragrance is incredible and the flavor is incredible and I love them. Like when I opened this, like I bought it and I opened it and I was like, oh my God.
And the main thing is that they're not super old. And that's the thing. Spices don't last forever. Cracking it fresh over your food. Because that's, I mean, there's oils on the interior that are going to be released directly onto, you know, the food.
And this is going to be, that's going to be relevant to another one of my things. So anyway, the Tellicherry Peppercorns that I bought on Amazon, I did some research for, you know, some of the websites where they do comparisons. This seemed like a good brand, and they smell incredible, and cracking it fresh over your food is just, that's non-negotiable to me. That's a must have. Something for doing that and something that tastes good like that. You go.
Cool. Next category I have is sharp things.
Yeah, sharp things.
So again, I'm going to talk about stages. I've been on so many stages and seen so many stages come and go from kitchens I'm working in. And, you know, they come and they pull out all of their knives and all of their things, and they have it all set up on their prep station like they're ready for war. And then they use three things. they use three things.
Yeah.
You use more than pretty much anything else, paring knife. A good, sharp paring knife. You use it when you're cutting fruit, when you're slicing. Like, I don't care what knives you have. I don't care who you buy them from. Try and get a good steel knife that fits your budget and feels nice in your hand. But you need one of these, you know, 6 to 8 inch prep, cook, or chef's knife. This one is it's the Mac Mighty. I think I paid like $130 for it.
Cool. I pay $130 for all my knives.
Yeah, you can go much higher if you want to, but I'm saying, like, working as a professional chef and using it every single day, this is probably your best bang for your buck actual chef's knife. But again, you can get a Fibrox for like $30 on Amazon. That's not going to stay sharp for as long, and it's going to have a, you know, just generic rubber handle, but it's gonna be great. You just need appropriate sharp things. So this is what I have. Again, super not important. This guy right here, the mandolin. You need to be careful with this guy right here. This is the Ben Renner brand Japanese style mandolin. They're super cheap. You can buy them at every single Asian market or online. They're great. It is the most dangerous thing in the kitchen, though. Like, for reals. I've seen people cut themselves pretty badly on these. But if you need thin slices or shaving things, like, this is the way to go, and the only way to go. So respect it, fear it, and an offset serrated knife. Yeah, super cheap. This is that same brand I was talking about, the Victorinox. The offset a lot so that you are not like trying to rock it. And final sharp thing, scissors.
Mhm.
These aren't actually Joyce Chen. Joyce Chen, these are a Joyce Chen knockoff that I got in Chinatown. But the Joyce Chen scissors, you can go through bone with them. They look this same format, and they're amazing. I keep them in my back pocket.
Mhm.
I am never without. I saw one line cook actually fashioned a holster.
Mhm.
So he had a leather holster on his hip for his scissors, so he could just boom, have them. Uh, I use this, I'm not even joking. I use these scissors when I'm working in a kitchen more than just about anything else. For another reason that I'll get into in my next thing as well. The main thing that I use the scissors for, though, is labeling.
Labeling.
So I'm going to just transition into my next point, but it is pen and paper. I cannot stress enough how much pen and paper are probably the most important non-directly related to preparing food things that I
Yeah.
have in the kitchen. I have a little notebook here
Mhm.
and a pen and a Sharpie.
Yeah.
I've never seen a line cook without a Sharpie. And if they don't have one, like, what the hell, man? Where's your Sharpie? Like, I have five. Like I have enough Sharpies that I will never run out of Sharpies, nor will anyone else around. They're very, very important. Like I've got that offset smoker that I just got dialing in. So yesterday I smoked a couple things on it, and I took 5-minute increments on what the
Oh,
temperature was doing, everything that was happening, because as much as you're paying attention and you think you will remember next
well,
time,
you
you
won't.
won't.
You will
You
not.
won't.
Yeah.
So I like when I wrote the list for this, like I wrote the list on my phone, but before I started doing this with you, I wrote down the list. Can't read the rest of the list. Stop it. But I wrote down the list in this. If you're gonna do a recipe online that you've never done before, if you want to go over to your phone and reopen where you have the recipe a million times and then try and tap the screen back on again because you're in the middle of mixing something,
Yeah.
sure, do that. Uh, no, actually, I take it back. Don't.
But
Don't.
that's the only way I've ever done it.
No. Take your little notebook, write the recipe down, because the act of writing the recipe down will cause you to remember it.
Yeah. Smart. Smart.
And then you just have a page that's open that has the recipe, and you go, oh, yeah, write things down. And then with your tape and Sharpie, when you're done, write the date and what it is, cut the tape with your scissors, because torn tape just looks dumb. It looks bad. No, like, sure, you can just do it. Cut the tape. It's so nice.
Dude,
Not
this
even joking.
this just gave me a flashback to the age of AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, for those of you who don't recall. And I remember you chastising me when I was like, I don't know, 13, 14. And so you were like 17, 18, and being like, come on, use capitalization and punctuation. So, like, come on. I mean, it just looks better. So again, I'm like, without any punctuation or capitalization. You're like, put together a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but just this 3M blue masking tape, it's in every professional kitchen in the world. If it's not blue, then it's this color green.
Yeah.
But like it's what is used.
I've seen it in every restaurant I've ever worked in.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the batches of things.
Have it in your life.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, again, this is another thing. You and I are both like pretty list obsessed and addicted, and writing things down and having notes and having notebooks is a big one for both of us. And not just in the kitchen, I feel like in everything.
Oh yeah, no, it's the only way I can get anything done. And it's something that I started doing in kitchens and then started applying to the rest of my life, but like pen and paper, essential.
It's because you and I are both massively ADD and have a whole bunch of shit that we're trying to navigate, but also are like very committed to our careers or the things we're passionate about. So we've had to get hyper focused on things like lists so that we can do the things that we want to do. Okay, my turn. And now I'm going to do two because you segued yours together.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one, I guess I could have brought this over, But this is funny because I'm doing mostly ingredient stuff and you did mostly tool stuff. So it's kind of nice because I also feel like you probably could, condone.
Well, I started making lists and I ended up with 10 lists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can kind of like pick and choose, but honestly, like with these things, you can do anything.
Yeah. So my next food item that I could have brought out with me, but I figure you guys know what it looks like, is an egg. I'm imagining I'm holding it here in my hand in case that helps people visualize.
I have one if you want.
I also have them, but I just was like, I feel weird just like setting a little egg. Oh my gosh. I could have. It just would have. We'll just pretend. So eggs. Because I was mostly focused on ingredients, this was really hard because I was like, butter, cheeses, different cheeses, like there's so many things. And I kind of surprised myself with egg because I was like, I put egg over like chicken thighs or butter or cream cheese or bagel, any of the other things that I like really consider staples, because I realized that as much as I love all of those things, the only one that I like really can't survive without in my kitchen is eggs, because I can do so much with them. I mean, you know how we feel about a fried egg in this house, right? So because I don't really like preparing food. I mean, it's like on Friends when Monica talks to Chandler and Joey, and she's like, "Did you guys know your oven is broken?" And Chandler's like, "Wait, but the drawer full of takeout menus is okay, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And there's a little bit of that here for me. I was actually talking to our mother about this interview, and she tried to guess what our lists were, which I will tell you. She guessed mine like pretty completely and spot on. So when I was talking to our mom about our list, she started to say, she was like, "I would say ramen, but I know you just ordered that as takeout, so it's probably not a must-have in your kitchen." And I was like, that's correct. For me, eggs are the thing I have to have, because realistically, the effort to prepare a meal that has meat in it, I do less often. I just order it. But eggs, like I will toast a bagel and fry an egg and put other things together with that so quickly and eat that. And then if I'm tired of that, I'll scramble some eggs and I'll put some capers and I'll put some cheese and some salt and pepper. And I just like, there's so many things where it's like, it's filling. It doesn't make me feel disgusting, which is what I feel when I live off of honey bunches of oats, which is the other thing I have been known to do when I don't feel like cooking. And there's just so much versatility. And egg yolk, popping an egg yolk from a fried egg or a poached egg.
Nature's sauce.
It's nature's sauce. And I just have to come out really clearly on my stance with this. If you don't like runny egg yolk, we have a problem. And you need to grow the fuck up.
You really do. And I understand people that like will go to medium because they're so terrified of getting a snotty egg white. But like you need to leave some life in your yolk. Just cook them right and have the white set. So
it's really not that hard. In fact, it's so easy that
while we're talking about eggs, I'd also like to say just like find where a farmer's market is. Because someone in your area has eggs that they're producing from a farm, buy those eggs.
So good.
They're a little bit more expensive. Don't buy something else that's $3 and then buy the good eggs, because
it's worth it. It's totally worth it.
The first time you do just one fried egg with an egg that was laid within 2 days versus a supermarket egg, like one of my housemates in San Francisco, not my favorite person, but that's not important. He does not like runny egg yolks. I changed his mind. Because I was doing fried eggs and I was talking about how much I love them. He was like, I don't like the yolks. Like it's I don't like the flavor of it. And I went,
fine.
Like the flavor of it?
No, you don't like the psychological aspect of eating something you think is gross. You don't not like the flavor of it. You're confused.
Yeah. And so I had some fresh baked bread that Miguel had made, and I was like, no. We're gonna take this good sourdough and we're gonna dip it in a little bit of this like real deal egg yolk. And he was like, "Oh, this is totally different. I don't hate this." And I'm like, "Yes, I know. You're an idiot."
So my next one is my last food related thing. And this was really, really hard to decide on. Sriracha sauce.
Mm.
I can't function without hot sauce.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can't. I had a canker sore a couple weeks ago, and I was like, God, this is very annoying. I forgot how annoying these are. And so I was Googling like how to get rid of it, and it was like avoid spicy foods. And I was like, but
But mhm.
but what does that mean? Like, I don't understand. So I ignored it, and the canker sore hurt, and then it eventually went away. But I wasn't gonna not eat spicy food. And this, so there's so many good hot sauces.
You've already accepted that you're willing to have pain in your life for the flavor. So you up the pain. Like, it's not a different deal. It's just more intense.
Yes. All right. I was like, I'm committed. It's worth it. And I have you to thank for this. Because if you hadn't been a torturous big brother that forced me to eat hot sauces growing up.
I barely chased you around the house with burned implements.
You did just the right amount of torture for character development that I think is important with siblings. You knew where the level was.
And it was never malicious.
No, it was always just for your own entertainment at my expense. Exactly. Anyway, you tortured me with incredibly hot sauces and peppers, and I'm so grateful. And this is how grateful I am. So we have a big family, right? There's 6 of us. And recently I was visiting 2 of our sisters, one that's younger, Skylar, and one that's older than both of us, Riley. And we got Thai food. And Skylar and I were like, blah, 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 with the hot sauces. And just to repeat, that sound was blah, 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 spelled B-L-O-R. B-L-O-R. And Riley was like, oh, I don't really like hot sauce. Like, that's way too spicy. And Skylar and I were like, what? Like, who are you? And then we were like, oh, you're older than Jason. So she tormented you. Like, she.
Well, I also, like, I mean, I would use it to stake my claim. It'd be like, oh, look, a pizza. Chili flake, chili flake, chili flake, chili flake, chili flake, chili flake, chili flake. This is mine. And then Riley, the oldest, he'd sit up there and just be like, well, this is mine. And then you two, since you were lower on the totem pole, then you had to just deal with the spicy pizza.
That's so true. So we were like, oh my gosh. We really benefited from being lower on the totem pole and able to be harassed by you, because now we love and appreciate.
I have this whole philosophy that there's nothing that makes a worse human being than getting your way all the time.
Oh, I mean, that's just easily true. And that's why it's nice to have 6 siblings, because you almost never get your way.
You never get your way.
Yeah, so I'm grateful now. I mean, as a child, I was like, you demon. But now I'm so glad, because I love spice food and I can't live without it. And I realized this is my.
Also, you mix it with sour cream and put it on anything, and it's so
anything and everything. Yes, and I picked
that statement holds true. Mix it with sour cream, and it's so good. Turns out sour cream, delicious.
I thought about the various hot sauces, and this is the one, because it's spicy enough that I don't feel like nothing's happening, and I can put just a fuck ton of it on my food. If I'm like really, and I'll just like mountains of peppers and things, and it does something to me, but it's not so spicy that I have to only eat it. Like,
no, it's a good mixture between like the chili, the garlic, and the vinegar. Like,
yes, and that's
like I heard this phrase about onions the other day, but it kind of works for sriracha too. It's like the bass player.
Yes.
Of food.
Yes.
Like, you don't necessarily want to hear the solo, but like if it's not there, you miss it.
Yes, that's so true. If I don't add it, just like without a bass player, it feels like something's not there that should be. But it's also not like what?
I said, or it's the White Stripes.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just put this on so much of my food. I mean, clearly, I haven't even had this bottle that long, and it's, halfway empty. So it needs to be there. And I do feel like it is, yeah, it's just a really good balance. You know, it's just sweet enough and it's hot enough and it's vinegary enough that I mean, it's one of my best friends. I'm never
No,
sad that.
I mean, the last boat I was on, I had 2 days to meet the boat and do all the provisioning for it.
Mhm.
And while I was looking at everything they had, I assumed that there was sriracha, and I didn't buy any because, like, why on earth would there be some sort of professional kitchen that didn't have sriracha in it?
Mhm.
Like, why is that a thing? It shouldn't be a
Mhm.
thing. But yeah, I ended up not having sriracha because there just wasn't any when I got there, and that was such a foreign concept that I ended up
Yeah,
not buying it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it should just be there.
It should just be there. It should just be there. And as a lazy person, especially in quarantine, like I have, there's so much of the time I just like toast a bagel, fry up an egg, or scramble some eggs. I vary the things that go with it. Sometimes I'll put, a little avocado, slice of tomato or something, some cream cheese. Like I switch it around with whatever other kind of staple things I have. But more often than not, pouring some sriracha on that just makes me feel better about what's happening. What is this is your last one next?
Last one.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's a blender, a powerful blender. In kitchens all over the world, we use Vitamixes. Vitamixes are very expensive. I don't know if you know about the Ninja kitchen system, but they actually work pretty dang well. That is actually one that I know about because of you. So that's why I'm being all cheeky about it.
My last item was my tie, so my cheat, and it's between a blender and my Burr Mill coffee grinder, which I got because
Yeah.
so you and I were at Aldi and I was wanting to get into making my own iced coffee. And you were like, well, you need a coffee grinder because you have to grind the beans because there's oils in the beans and they don't last forever. And you need to do that fresh or it's just like, don't even bother, which is.
Same thing with peppercorns. And that's why I have the Microplane is doing that with lemons as well.
Yes.
People, the essential oils that come off of things when you grind them are important. Don't do it ahead.
I got really lucky though that we just saw that Burr Mill coffee grinder because it was like $19.99 and Burr Mill coffee grinders are usually a little more expensive than that, I have noticed, but it really does make such a huge difference because you can describe it better than I can, but it doesn't just like shave the beans, it actually like grinds them like in a way that you get more of those oils and more of the flavor. And I was actually watching New Girl a while ago. Had you watched New Girl? All the way, yes. There was an episode where Schmidt was talking about things in the kitchen and being particular about things in the kitchen. And he was trying to find his Burr Mill coffee grinder. And Jess was like, oh, it's in that cabinet. And he was like, why would it be in this cabinet? And they kind of get into it. And she's like, oh, so would it make you upset that I used it to make homemade crayons? And he's like, right? And he's like, this is a Burr Mill coffee grinder, okay? It doesn't just shave the beans, okay? It grinds them. It grinds them. And I was watching it going, because I was like, you don't want to be Schmidt, but sometimes you just have to embrace who you are. And
that's why he was such a great relatable character, is because he's so over the top, but then sometimes not actually wrong.
Right? Well, and that describes both of us. Over the top, but not actually wrong.
I said about myself yesterday. I was like, oh, yeah. No, I was talking about, younger me. And I was like, well, I wasn't wrong. I was just an asshole. The old Walter Sobchak argument.
Yes.
No, Walter, you're not wrong. You're just an asshole.
Yes, you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole. That's so true. Wow, so many breakthroughs. Wasn't expecting that from this interview.
I didn't tell how I cheated with my last category. I just said blender because what the category is blend and strain is what I have. Because a fine mesh strainer or a chinois, chinois, they're so great. If you want to make like professional quality finished foods, everything that you blend to a puree, put it through a chinois.
Okay.
Just the sheer act of straining it's going to take out a lot of those imperfections and just give it a smooth, nice finish.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest things because like when I retooled my list, I was like, yeah, sure, I could just make a list of 5 things, but like anyone can make a list of 5 ingredients that's, you know, important to them.
Yeah.
So I was trying to say, like, what do I know from my years in kitchens that actually is different?
Yeah.
We blend things in blenders and we put them through a fine mesh strainer. And that is what is going to give that nice finished consistency to all of your sauces, purees.
Yeah.
Like, that's what restaurants are doing that you aren't. Using a mandolin and putting it through a chinois afterwards. Like, that's really it. You know, maybe putting some things in ice water, but it's just those extra little steps that people don't do at home.
And then flavor-wise, I feel like what I've learned from you over the years also, like a couple things that kitchens are doing that people aren't, is using more butter and kosher salt. Just more butter and more better salt on a lot of stuff. That's making a really big difference between when you eat something in a restaurant, you're like, this is amazing. Like I remember you once saying something.
Sometimes it's also MSG, depending on where you are.
But I remember you talking about something one time being like, yeah, we just put way more butter on stuff than people feel comfortable doing at home. And you don't see it happen. What?
Like a scary amount of butter, but it's so
Well, my cookies, I make incredible cookies. This is documented. You know this. You've confirmed it.
Because you put peanut butter M&Ms in the cookies, and if you put peanut butter M&Ms in cookies, it's fucking delicious.
Yes, but that's not all. The base cookie itself is an incredible cookie.
It's very good. It's very good.
And we do have slightly different opinion about how cooked they should be. I like them a little bit less cooked than you do. But there's a scary amount of butter in those. Like, that's what you look at the recipe and you're like, well, this is bad for my heart because there's a lot of butter in this. But that's why that when I take them anywhere, people are like, this is the best cookie ever. And I'm like, yeah, because butter.
Yeah, I have a recipe for biscuits that 22 biscuits uses a pound of butter. But they're the best biscuits on the planet. I'll throw down biscuits. Like, I don't care who you are, Bobby Flay, anyone. I will throw down biscuits.
Yeah, I believe you. I totally believe you about that. So, okay, and then just to finalize my thing, I almost didn't put blender on my list, and this is why it was an alternate, because I like my Burr mill coffee grinder more as far as living my life and having things that taste good. But
also, you can blend spices in there as well. Spice grinder, yeah.
Yeah,
the spice grinder is a Burr mill coffee grinder. That's what a spice grinder is. So.
Interesting. I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, so for the blender, I was like, I find this to be a fairly boring item because I only really use it to make green smoothies, which you and I have been drinking gelatinous, nutritionist green smoothies since way before it was cool, like literally in the 90s, because our hippie parents had a Vitamix and we had to drink like Harry Potter.
I remember when like raw food vegan stuff started becoming like really in vogue and just being like, this again, really?
Oh yeah. When we were kids, we were having to eat all this fucking stuff that did not taste great, and kids would be like, ew, why is your drink green? And then 20 years later, I see all these people on Instagram being like, I'm doing a green smoothie. And I was like, oh, really? Oh, really, Marissa? Remember when you made fun of my green sludge-filled thermos in the 2nd grade? You bitch. But then I made up the name Marissa because I almost said someone's real name. I have to put blenders on the list, though, because even though my green smoothies taste nothing like the ones of our childhood, and I refuse to eat things that are disgusting, so they do taste good. I use like some plain Greek yogurt, some almond milk, fruit, so it's like it tastes good, but they are so easy, and I do start to feel kind of gross if I don't have smoothies like pretty regularly.
My favorite soup in the whole world is a carrot ginger soup. Ooh. And you take a bunch of onions and garlic and ginger and saute it, and then you add orange juice and chicken stock and simmer it until the onions are soft, and then you just blend it all and put it through a chinois. When you blend it, you add a little bit of cream to each batch and then strain it, and then you just dump just some straight dry vermouth, uncooked, just a little bit, directly into the soup, and then whisk and add salt. That's it.
Oh my god!
It's like the best soup ever. The color comes out like orange, like a sunrise kind of orange, just like beautiful, glowing, vibrant. and like all the flavors are there. Carrots are so sweet and delicious.
They're so sweet and delicious.
They're
Love
so
carrots.
sweet and delicious.
I love carrots. But okay, I also have to point out, you and I have been roommates as adults a number of times since we have been grown-ups that don't live at home. And I regularly wish that you were closer because of the times that we've lived together and you just make food and it's so good. You either bring food home from restaurants where you work or you just make, like, you'll come home from work late at night and be like, well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to make something incredible. Hey, look, here you go. Because one of the best things about your personality that I just love so much and wish more people had this quality is you want to share good things that you're excited about as much as you, if not more than you want to experience them. Like, you are a give somebody else the last bite of something good because you want them to try it so badly person, and you've always been like that. So anytime you make something fun or yummy, you always make a bowl or a plate for whoever else is there. And that's so nice. And I love that about you. And I wish you would make me that soup right now.
One of my favorite memory from culinary school, actually, is I remember it was a day when we were in the JSB Cafe. Mm-hmm. And so it's all students running the restaurant. And I had made, it was just like a cream of spinach soup, like super basic soup, but I nailed it, you know, like salt, pepper, everything was right there. Mm-hmm. And we had a little like downtime right before like the service started. And I look around and like every single one of my classmates has a little cup of soup. And I'm just seeing them like take little sips and be like, today is about to suck so hard, but right now I've got this beautiful little soup. And I saw like all of these people happy, and it, like I still just like, yay, I did a good thing.
Is there anything you would like to plug?
Yes. So it's actually a law that got passed in California last year. It's AB 626, Assembly Bill 626. And it's for micro enterprise home kitchen operations. Mm-hmm. And it is really freaking cool. Basically, it allows an expansion of the cottage foods industry. So that anyone, as long as they have a Serve Safe Manager course and their home kitchen is inspected by someone from the Department of Public Health and it's passed, then they can legally start selling food out of their home. Oh, and so awesome. You can have, I mean, it's got a couple provisions on it. You can only have one employee, and they cap the amount of meals and total amount of sales you're allowed to do with it. Mm-hmm. But there are a couple of counties that have passed local legislation for it. Riverside County is one of them, and Santa Barbara County is in talks with getting it passed. Awesome. But with the closing of so many restaurants, I mean, it's something like a third of all restaurants are expected to just be gone forever now. Yeah. And the numbers are just getting worse and worse. But I think that in the current climate, it's a way to both end some of the food deserts that exist, and just get people producing again, you know, because it's something that can be done easily from your own home. And as long as, you know, because like the Serve Safe Manager level training is actually like takes a little bit to get through. And I think that as long as the inspections are done pretty regularly and that it can be done without any like serious health risks. But I think it's a really big step forward that should be taken for restaurants in the future. Yeah,
that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. I am looking forward to chatting with you again now that the door is open. I'm going to bully you into doing stuff like this more often, just letting you know on camera, recording that so it's kept forever. Everybody knows now. If you enjoyed this video, everyone, then you should tell us that and tell my brother thank you for giving us time.
Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button.
It's 2 different buttons, Jason. Jesus. So make sure to smash that like and the subscribe buttons, you know, if you want to do that. We're not here to pressure you. We're not here to tell you how to live your life unless the thing that we're talking about is you not eating runny egg yolk, in which case we will bully you. But it's for your own good. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, dude. Bye.
Where's my Burr coffee grinder? I think it's in the hutch.
You put it in the hutch? This thing was on the street.
It's a coffee grinder, Schmidt. I think it'll be okay.
A top-of-the-line conical Burr coffee grinder. You know what that means? It means it doesn't smash up the beans like some pedestrian blade grinder. It actually grinds them for a deeper, richer, more satisfying flavor profile.
Oh, well, I've used it repeatedly to make homemade crayons. Does that show up in your flavor profile, Schmidt?